Okay, good evening, and how is everyone doing tonight? I hope it's been an excellent Wednesday. I want to welcome you to the Southwest Community Policing Council's May meeting, first meeting of the month, every month. And we've got some interesting topics today. We're going to be out fairly quickly tonight because we have a couple of council members who were indisposed, had to do other things tonight. So I will get this started pretty quickly. I have two Commander Renee Barrazas. Are you, sir, are you Jeffrey Luhan? Yeah, you're muted. Still, mute key all the way bottom left. Click on the key, the microphone icon. Okay, great. All right. Okay, excellent. Because we do not have a quorum of participants at this point, Wanda Harrison is our CPC member. Oh, we also have Andrea Lester Young right now. And we do not have a quorum of participants, so we will table the approval of the meeting minutes and the agenda until next month. Andrea and Wanda, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Wanda Harrison. I've been a member of the Southwest CPC for the last 3 years. I'm looking forward to having a working relationship with our new commander. It's all very exciting, and thank you to the officers for attending our meeting tonight.
Nice hairstyle, by the way. I like that. All right, Andrea?
Hi, everybody. Hi. Sorry, my video is not working right. It's not on right now because I'm still driving home. I got out of work late, but I've been a part of the Southwest CPC, I believe now for over a year, little over a year. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you as well.
Okay, excellent. I would like to make the announcement first thing that the Southwest Community Policing Council is looking for new members. We're looking for someone who can volunteer 6 to 8 hours a month for their community to come up with excellent ideas, keep informed on the issues, what's happening with crime in the city and the Southwest Area Command, and wants to get involved. I will put the link up to sign up for the council in chat. Please pass it on to anyone you know who lives or works in the Southwest Area Policing Command, because we are a little short right now, and hopefully we can get these positions filled. Okay. Commander Barraza, would you like to introduce your officers?
Yes, thank you, Kelly. Again, welcome everybody. I am Commander Renee Barraza. I'm currently overseeing the Southwest Area Command. Tonight, I have invited 3 of my officers, well, actually 2 of my officers, and I spoke about them briefly on our last month's meeting. I was really excited about getting bike patrol officers finally assigned to the Southwest Area Command, because we haven't had them for quite a while. And I have 2 outstanding members that stepped up to the challenge, and they've been doing a really good job. One of them is Martin Garcia. He has a military background. He has about 3 years on with the police department, and he is super excited and motivated to be here, part of my team in the Southwest Area Command. The other one is going to be Officer Dion Bethea, also a young officer with the department, but very, very motivated, very enthusiastic, and wants to be part of the change within the Southwest Area Command, the positive change. So I'm really honored to have these 2 young men part of my team, Dion and Martin. And then the third one that I invited is going to be Sergeant Jeremy Luhan. I am very honored to have Sergeant Jeremy Luhan join my team. I've known Sergeant Luhan for all of his career with APD. He is actually one of another generation of APD officers. His dad and his uncle also served with the police department and retired from the Albuquerque Police Department. So he's been with APD for a long time, it seems. But Jeremy Luhan brings a great wealth of knowledge and experience, especially for special investigations, and he's currently overseeing the Southwest PRT team right now. So I want to welcome those 3 officers to this meeting tonight. And when it's time, they can introduce themselves a little bit and then speak about themselves.
Thank you very much, sir. And we'll go back to you in about a few minutes to give the Area Command Crime Report for the month. First off, we have the Chief of the Albuquerque Police Department, Harold Romero. Chief Romero is unable to share video right now because he's not in Albuquerque, but he was gracious enough to come on anyway to give us his yearly or bi-yearly State of the City APD police address. So with no further ado, Chief Medina.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Sorry that there's no video. I'm actually stuck in an airport in Washington. You know, we talk about the state of the department, and we usually give an update in 4 key areas. And obviously, I know the most important area is crime and what's been occurring with crime. Although we have had a tough week, so to speak, we had 3 homicides this past weekend on Saturday, and on Sunday we had another one. We still are looking good. We're still negative about 7 homicides for the year compared to the year before. And the year before, our clearance rate was about 55%, and the average is about 55% over several years. Don't quote me on exact numbers, but it's right around that area. We're actually at about 118% clearance rate right now for the year. Homicide has done an amazing job with their new training, the new leadership there, adding individuals to help officers with their electronic evidence gathering and filtering through social media has really benefited them with the civilians that we brought on to do that. We are going to hire 5 more people to help investigations with those types of investigations. But you know, as it stands with homicides, we are moving in a positive direction, both with the numbers going down and the clearance rates becoming higher and higher. In terms of fatalities for traffic, we were down 33% last week, but it's been also a rough week in terms of traffic fatalities. So there's somewhere about, I think they're still in the negative. I haven't gotten the final numbers from this week, and I was out of town today. So they're still close. I think last year they had 4 this week. So this week last year they had 4. So it's going to still, we should still be in the negative. The encouraging thing is the officers are working hard. They've almost doubled the amount of citations they've given this year. The traffic section has more than doubled it. For the Southwest, what that means is there's been a lot of operations along Central, especially on Sundays. Commander Barraza and Commander Norris have worked together, and they're hitting it as one operation because we know that individuals on Sundays frequent both sides of the freeway. Deputy Chief Brown keeps stats. We've really encouraged our officers to ensure that they're enforcing laws and taking enforcement action. And the number of felony arrests has basically more than doubled since the beginning of the year when we started tracking, and all other crime categories. And we'll let Deputy Chief Brown talk a little bit about the numbers that he may have for the Southwest or what he's seen in the Southwest. I'm encouraged that Deputy Chief Brown was able to work out, and Southwest did get some additions to their team with the bike units, and Sergeant Luhan was a great asset of ours in auto theft. Worked hard for years to get those auto theft numbers, and he's going to be a great addition permanently to the Southwest. In terms of recruiting and staffing levels, we're at about 878 officers. We have 28 that are going to be graduating in 2 weeks, and we also have about 41 that are seated for the next class, with 12 more in background. So we're doing good in recruiting. We're doing good in bringing people on. Our retirements are down. Retirements for year to date are 23 this year, as opposed to last year where we had so much exodus. But one of the big issues we are seeing is we're seeing officers leave and just resign from the profession of law enforcement. I'd be concerned if a lot of these officers are going to other agencies. The vast majority are quitting and becoming either realtors or working security at San Diego National Labs or other types of employment, or moving out of state. We actually have the same amount of people who have resigned this year than we have had retired. And the biggest group of resignations has come from people with 1 to 5 years. I believe it's 8 that have done that. We are looking for ways to ensure that we continue to increase the number of support staff for our officers, so our officers stay available in the field. We talked about the ones that are working the digital evidence. We're looking at bringing some people who are going to help traffic officers with fatal accidents. The insurance industry has a lot of reconstruction specialists that we're hoping that we can steal to help them with that workload. We added some regulatory type people who are helping with the pawn shops and the recycle centers and gathering all the information and getting all the data and carrying it over to the sworn officers. Deputy Chief Barker is working on 2 more that will specifically focus on CYFD type calls at the schools. So these calls don't hold and officers end up going to the home late in the evening because a lot of times they're lower priority and we're able to get people out to the schools more quickly and get these cases started to investigate or handing them off to CYFD when necessary. So we're looking at a lot of different ways. PSAs continue to grow. We have 7 more that graduated, I believe, last week, and we're hoping to have another class start of PSAs towards the mid-June timeframe that will continue to help us build towards that number of 100. In terms of the settlement agreement, I'm encouraged. Our numbers, I saw the draft report. It looks very encouraging. There's a lot of progress in a lot of areas, and that will become public on May 11th. Big compliments to Deputy Chief Garcia, Deputy Chief Lowe. They've worked very hard in getting those up. Also, big compliments to the mayor and the administration. They have allowed us to hire civilians where we need to. A lot of people were concerned when we hired civilian investigators, but even Baltimore is now advertising they're the first. We should send them an email and let them know they're actually not the first. We'd started it a year ago. Michigan State Police reached out to us about our civilians that are doing investigations on use of force cases because they're also moving that direction. Across the country, recruiting is an issue and it's going to continue to be one here, but it looks like we're moving a lot of things in the right direction with the settlement agreement. Deputy Chief Lowe has a great working relationship with the monitoring team and DOJ, so it looks like they're moving stuff in the direction it has to go. The next area I'll talk about is outreach. We'll continue it. We're actually not this Saturday, but the next, we will be having a meet and greet for our newest cadets. This is something we'll be doing every academy going forward, where we have the cadets go do a coffee with a cop at local business so that people could meet the new officers coming on the department. We did this a little bit prior to COVID. Now that COVID's starting to, its impact is starting to dwindle down, we'll move in that direction of that community outreach. Our ambassador program continues to work with different parts of the community, and we actually have a good, strong relationship with the Native aspects of the Native American community. The Black community, we had a recruiting event with them earlier this year to try to increase the diversity of the police department. So we'll continue to work on the outreach. And that kind of hits the 4 areas: the settlement agreement, outreach, crime, and what am I missing? Recruiting, community outreach, enforcement, and the settlement agreement. Yes, those are the 4 areas. So if anybody has questions, I'll turn it over to anybody that may have some questions at this point.
Okay. If you have questions, please put them in chat. We will address them that way. And later on, we will be able to give you a chance to talk if you actually have any more questions. So the first question is coming from Joanna Harris. Is there any more information about speed cameras?
About any more information about what?
Speed cameras, traffic violation cameras.
The mobile, the automated enforcement is going live towards the end of the month. We're currently issuing warning citations, and the program will be going fully live by the end of May. Deputy Chief Smathers and Lieutenant Wheeler have been working on this extensively. I know they are working on a way for people to do community service in lieu of paying the fine, which I think is a great thing. And I'm going to ask compliance to look at the same thing as penalties for officers who may violate that. They're able to do some kind of community service or attend community events in lieu of paying. So we are working on, the city is working on different ways, and it's not just all monetary. So we will continue to monitor that. And Kelly, that might be a good one for you guys to put on the agenda to get the exact specifics from Lieutenant Wheeler and the traffic section.
Sounds good. I will make a note of that. And then that's Jonathan Harris. I'm sorry I butchered your name there. Margarita Agnes Hernandez says an alleged gang drug seller moved in next door to me 7 years ago. It is tiring having to report to 242 cops, ABQ 311, the app, etc. So I take a week off sometimes not reporting in order not to lose new officers. Can you give them days off or a week off to gather themselves and balance themselves?
I think this is something we're looking at across the board is how do we become better employers? Right now, I'm looking at our civilian side first, and our officers did move to 12-hour schedules, and that was by their with their support. We talked to the officers. We asked them what they would prefer to work. Overwhelmingly, they chose the 12-hour shifts, which does give them more time off. But we're also looking ways to preserve and to maintain some of our civilians. I'm looking to see how we could have some of our civilian staff go to 410s and increase the hours that our substations are opened, but at the same time, I'll give them that 410 schedule. Deputy Chief Lowe has a section of compliance that is taking advantage of the city's policy on being able to work at home from one day. So we're looking to be as innovative as we can and compete with private industry and how we maintain some of our employees. We did add in our last collective bargaining agreement increase in pay for officers who remain in the same area command. And they did get a good raise of about 10% this last time, or yeah. And then they will be getting an additional 8, I think it is. Don't quote me on those numbers because I don't have it right in front of me. But, you know, we're doing everything we can to keep our officers, and we'll continue to work hard to ensure that we both recruit, we find them support staff when we can. And in terms of that problem with your neighbor, just get a hold of Commander Barraza, and he should be able to assist you so you don't have to keep reporting it, and maybe he could give you some more frequent updates.
Okay. Let me ask you one question personally, sir. We have 28 officers getting out of the academy now. That's correct, right?
Yes.
Is that a high rate of attrition this year? Or is that generally what you get? Because I think we started off with 50 something or 60, correct?
This class started a little, this class was a little less than previous classes. We had a number of people fail PT going in, and we also had tried to send some to CNM in this spring timeframe that we hadn't generally done in the past. And I think 2 or 3 people had ended up there. And we did this class that started in December. A portion of them did go to the fall class at CNM, which was fairly larger than this class. So yes, this class was shorter, but the number and the target of bringing on about 100 officers, we've been able to get really close to maintaining that.
What is the difference between the APD Academy and the CNM Academy?
For me personally, and you know, there's a lot of different opinions on this, is I like the educational environment of the CNM Academy. I like that people, every cadet that I've spoken to feels they're more at ease. It makes for a better learning environment. I think it's something we're still looking at to see if it produces a equal officer or less officer, and we'll need a few years to gather the data. But when we had our big recruiting, our lateral push in 2018, former Councilman Ken Sanchez asked me to ensure that we developed a way to make sure that the region can train more officers, because we were stealing a lot of officers from the surrounding agencies. And the solution to that was CNM, because there's a portion that from APD that go there, but they're also the biggest producer of the number of officers being trained in the metro area at this point.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Now's your opportunity. Chief only comes twice a year. I'm not seeing any at this point. Do we have any lateral transfers right now, sir?
Right now, the last numbers I saw on the bubble sheet earlier this week is I think there's 4 laterals in background or seated and 6 more that are in the process. So we're hoping to get a lateral class of about 10, but after that initial big lateral push in 2018, we haven't had big numbers of laterals.
Okay, great. And Marguerite Agnes Hernandez makes a comment. Ken Sanchez and I were working together to get Gang on Gang website. Is it still there?
We do. They do have a version of tracking it, individuals like that, and it is housed in our Criminal Investigative Bureau with Deputy Chief Barker, and we could get an update on that. But one of the biggest things we're learning is, you know, traditionally when I came on, gangs are like very focused. You know, you had West Side Locos, you had Martinez Town. These gangs are very tight knit. You know, the gangs interact with each other more, and we're kind of focusing on groups of individuals because gang members nowadays, they float from group of individuals to group of individuals, and it's not necessarily just one gang as it used to be in the past that they were loyal to.
Okay. Excellent question. Anyone else? Okay. Logie Mathis asks, doesn't a candidate have to go to both academies, CNM and APD?
If they choose to go to the CNM Academy after they finish there, because they're just getting the mandate from the state, they come back to APD and they do an additional, I think, 10 weeks, which meets all the DOJ mandates. And just to give everybody a little bit of how things come full circle, the first community meeting I ever attended was with Sergeant Mathis.
Okay. And the CNM program is 8 to 5, 16 weeks. Is that right? One semester, 8 in the morning to 5 p.m. roughly.
Yeah, it's roughly it's roughly the 8 hours a day, and it's 8 to 10 hours a day, depending. I don't know if they're on a 4-10 or a 5-8 schedule, and they do 16 to 17 weeks is what the state curriculum is.
Okay. As for the 312 system, is that all police and all area commands right now? All street cops?
Yes, all field officers are on a 12-hour schedule. And Deputy Chief Brown is on the line. Who could add to that? And maybe you could give a little bit of what the early indications are. Josh, can you chime in on that one?
Sure. So right now, every area command is on a 12-hour schedule. So they work, and it kind of goes week to week. So they have 1 week they'll work 3 days, and the next week they'll work like 3.5, like with an 8-hour shift. And the reason that's kind of broken up the way that it is they get their 40 hours total for that week, and you know it makes it for an 80-hour paycheck. So one of the things we noticed right off the bat was when we had to do the restructure in January was the overlap or lack thereof of some of the squads. We had standalone squads where COVID really, you know, would wipe out a squad if we were down to like 1 or 2 people, and there was no overlap with the sister squad to take a lot of the calls for service and the brunt of some of that. So we looked at time of the day of the week, and essentially through a staffing study that was done, I had them look at, you know, where the majority of our calls for service were, and then what days of the week they were the most prevalent. And if you look at it, the way that it's staffed now is 50% of the area command staff will be on at any one time for that shift, for that watch. And that means, you know, our busiest times are actually Tuesday through Saturday. I think it was 11 a.m. to about 11 p.m. for calls for service type. So that's where we staff the majority on our days in swing shift. So we had that overlap because in the past it was a 12-hour day and a 12-hour night. So we added some swing shifts in there that were also 12-hour to give that overlap. So with those busiest times, we had the most amount of officers going from days to swings, and then from swings to graves, so we didn't lose any coverage at all. So.
And for anyone who might be interested, sir, how are these shifts dealt out to officers who just get out of the academy? Is it a matter of seniority, getting day shifts, or how does that work?
It is. I mean, when we do a bid and we get a cadet class that just comes out, we'll actually block off some of the squads in there. So what we'll do is we'll either place them or they'll have a mini bid. So those officers will get a bid for what spots are available in the field. But what we don't want to have happen is, you know, you have I don't know, whatever day of the week shift that it's a graveyard and, you have weird days off and nobody wants to work it. And so then it gets all brand new officers. So we'll actually block off a couple days in there where, that's one of the bidded positions you have to bid to. And that way we don't have all squads of brand new officers who have no experience and they're still able to work with officers who have at least, a couple years on the department.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any more questions for the chief right now. If you have anything, put it in quickly and I will get into it. Otherwise, Chief Medina, thank you for your attendance and we hope to talk to you soon. Oh, Logie has a question. Can you go to CNN before being hired, then apply to APD Academy?
No, and that's one of the things we're looking to change statewide, because that's a state mandate where you have to be sponsored to go to an academy. And the state of California, the state of Colorado are two examples that have been very successful at allowing individuals to get certified at a certain level, and then their training is finished at the agency that they're hired on to. So one of the things we're working and we've been trying to do with the state is work it out where we could have people go into a curriculum where they would get advanced training for 2 years in a lot of topics, and that would count for, let's say, 12 of the 16 weeks, and then all the hands-on stuff such as driving, firearms, and such could be trained as they come over to the department. So we are looking to see how we could implement something like that, because to me, that would be a great recruiting pool, and we could pull kids straight out of high school.
Okay, excellent. I don't see anything else, sir. If you'd like to log off, we appreciate your time and please get home safe.
No, thank you. I'm going to go try to find my bag. Thanks.
Okay, thanks to Chief Medina for his attendance tonight. Next up, we have Commander Renee Barraza, who's going to give us the area command report. Sir, it's up to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kelly. And are you able to share my screen, Kelly? So I can bring up my the stats. Let me know if you can see numbers on the screen.
You should be able to share. Let's see. I don't see anything yet. Are you sharing now?
Okay, hold on 1 second. It's not giving me the option to share. Hold on. No, it's still not giving me the option to share.
Okay, try now.
No, I only see the live stuff and then pause and stop and record. Just wanna
Okay.
make sure.
You are the host now. I'm not sure what's going on, but let's try this one more time. Okay, give it one more chance.
No, I don't see the ability to do that on the screen yet.
You don't have a green button at the bottom? Share
Yeah,
screen
hold on a
button.
second. Yeah.
Green key right in the middle.
Yes, sir. You see it now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, okay.
Good. So as you can see here, up on the left, and this is the past 30 days for the Southwest Area Command. The big number there, the 5,400, that's the amount of calls for service that all the officers across all shifts responded to in the last 30 days. As you can see on the left there, we have some categories. We have auto theft, auto burglary, commercial burglaries, residential burglary. And keep in mind, this is going to be stats specifically from the computer automated dispatch. So they may be a small difference between the dispatch calls and the actual reports that are written, because we're going through a transition with the new reporting system. But I keep track of those, and there's not a big difference. As you can see, auto theft for the past 30 days, we've had 20 auto thefts. On the bottom left, you see a number 7. That's under the recovered vehicle category. So those 20 that we've had stolen in the Southwest, we're able to, and we recovered 7 vehicles. That doesn't mean that it's the same vehicles that were stolen from here, but we recovered 7 in the last 30 days. Auto burglaries that's 10 for the whole month. Commercial burglaries, that's 5, and we're actually trending down on commercial burglaries within the area command. So I'm very proud of the hard work that all my officers and sergeants are putting in. That's an indication that we're putting the resources and our resource officers in the right place at the right time to make sure that we try to prevent some of these types of crimes. Residential burglaries, they're 11 for the whole month. That's actually a pretty small number for a whole month. The ag assaults, there's quite a few of those. There's 49 for the last 30 months, but those are going to be something that we can't predict. We do graph those. We do look at where the hotspots may be, if something's maybe driving aggravated assaults. But what we're seeing, a lot of the ag assaults are going to be crimes of passion. Sometimes people are, they get upset at each other when they're driving. So some of those road rage incidents do turn into ag assaults and ag batteries. That category is also going to include your shootings, when people shoot each other and they don't die. So those are going to be the ag batteries with deadly weapons. So that is 49, which is a big number. But we continue to, if there's any leads, our officers do follow up on the leads. We call out detectives if we have to, but we also look at the graph and see where maybe some of those events are being caused because certain events, but a lot of those are going to be crimes of passion. They're going to be as a result of road rage incidents. Robberies, as you can see for the area command, the last 30 days, we've had 9 robberies. I'm very proud of having that low number, although I would like to have 0, but that's not realistic. But 9 is not that bad for being the past 30 days. We do get crime analysis involved, and they send us graphs and areas where robberies are occurring, and they're not really centralized in one area. They're actually spread out within the area command, and they're on Central. They're usually about Central and Coors, Central and Unser, and then Central 98th Street. So those are more to the smaller businesses, but in those areas where we see the hotspots of robberies and the commercial burglaries, we do ask our officers to increase their presence in that area, and then we also increase our field briefing. So maybe that has the direct input of seeing those low numbers. The number 2 there, that's criminal sensible penetration calls, and then fights in progress. I think that was, let me move this over real quick, just to make sure it's not 40, but it's only 4. Yeah, it's only 4. So as you can see, those numbers are low for a large period, for a whole month. So that's indicative that the officers, the sergeants and lieutenants are actually putting their time and effort and their hours for extra patrols, traffic stops, and being visible in the community to make sure that we deter some of those crimes. So I'm very proud of the work that they're doing. So that's why you see the low numbers. And then the other numbers, you can see shopliftings in the last 30 days. We've had 3. Let me just make sure that's not 30 some. Yeah, that's at 3. Frauds 30. Family offenses, that is a big number. That's your domestic violences and your domestic assaults. Any incident involving a family member is going to be reported as a family offense. DUIs, we had 5 arrests in the area command, and then disturbances, 50. Then we have warrants. Warrant arrests are 15, and then shots fired calls. So we do have a lot of shots fired calls, and those are coming from our gun detection software that we have, and our officers respond quickly, rapidly to try to at least find the scene or apprehend somebody. But as you can see, the numbers are really low, and again, this is a direct result of directed patrols, focused patrols in the right areas, so that way we can affect the crime rate in the Southwest. Is there any questions for me reference the stats within the Southwest Area Command?
I do not see any questions right now, sir. Can I ask you one quick question?
Yes, sir.
How has the emphasis on traffic violations affected policing in the Southwest Area Command?
Well, let me tell you, we have seen an increase since I was when I took over in December. We have seen an increase of our officers going out there and conducting traffic stops. So we're trending upwards in traffic stops. It's affecting some of these crime categories, obviously, where you see the officers out there. But what I'm proud of, and the chief did hit on this about the automated speed enforcement that is coming to the Southwest. I won't have the luxury to tell everyone where it's at, but it is coming. There is 3 cameras already in the city of Albuquerque that are operational. And this is information that I received from Commander Viers, who's the commander of the traffic division. Those cameras were going to go live on April 25th. We meet on a regular basis as commanders, and April 25th was the start date for automated enforcement. There's 3 cameras, and for the first 30 days, citizens are going to get warnings. After those 30 days, then they're going to turn into citations, and they are going to be a monetary citation. And once the citizen goes through the process of answering for their citations, then they will go through the court system and have the option to either pay the citation, or like the chief stated, Metro Court's going to set up also like community service and maybe some driver improvement score or something. So we really need to change the behavior and the environment of people speeding throughout our city. Just like the chief said earlier, it's been a brutal week. The weekend was pretty violent, and then yesterday we had some fatalities in the Northeast Area Command at rush hour, and then we had one early this morning, a fatality. So we do have a lot of work ahead of us, but I think with the automated enforcement that's coming, hopefully that does change people's attitude towards speeding, because that does nobody no good. And like I stated earlier, that there's going to be one speed enforcement camera here in the Southwest, and I'm so looking forward to that, because hopefully that could help us deter a lot of the speeding. One other thing that we do, and I've stated this before, and if nobody knows, we do a TAC plan to address all the street racing, the speeding, and the modified exhaust every Sunday. And I continue to get correspondence from some of our city councilors, because some of the citizens do report those, that they see still ATVs out there and speeders and people racing. Be assured, my officers and my supervisors, they're all aware of the areas where this is happening, and we are addressing it as we see it occurring. So.
Okay. Okay, one question just between us tonight on this podcast or this webcast. How far over the speed limit do you have to be going in order to get a citation with the camera?
So the camera is set, if you're doing 10 miles over the speed limit, you're gonna receive a citation. Okay. And from the information that I received from Commander Viers is, and it's really not the information I received, but it's more so that, if somebody's doing 5 miles over the speed limit, the way we see it, they're not really going to injure anybody. We'd rather people not speed, but we have to set a standard. Who are we going to cite? Because once you're doing 10 miles over the speed limit, it doesn't matter what the speed limit is. 10 miles over the speed limit, now you're affecting your ability to perceive something, to be able to then control your vehicle and stop or avoid a crash. So that whole the perception reaction time, it does change when your speed starts increasing, and that's why we have speed limits throughout the city. We have a lot of time and effort into that. Traffic engineering does countless studies when they put speed limits up. So we'd rather see people not speed, but for the automated speed enforcement, people will receive a citation if they're doing 10 miles over the posted speed limit or higher. That's not to say that a police officer, if he's doing any kind of speed enforcement and in any of the streets in the Southwest or in the city, they can pull you for doing 5 miles over the speed limit, because state laws does say that if you're speeding 1 to 10 miles over the speed limit, you can still be pulled over, cited, and then of course you'll have the option to either go to court or pay the penalty assessment. So
I got a ticket now.
that was a good question, Kelly.
I got a ticket now. They're doing this for going 32 in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. It's a small municipality, and they need to, So I wasn't too upset about it, but yeah, I think it's good information. Karen Kramer says, I just called about 5 shots fired this afternoon at 3 p.m. on Regina Road Northwest. Any update on that accident?
Is it an accident or is it a shots fired?
Incident, I'm sorry. Incident, she said. Yeah.
Let me look at it.
Hey, Commander.
Yes, sir.
So myself and Officer Garcia actually went to that call.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So just to give you an update on that call, Officer Garcia and I were on site. We were dealing with some homeless that were actually just south of that location. We heard some shots fired. So I advised our dispatcher of what we heard, and a couple other officers. We all went into the general location and canvassed the area. We were able to talk to some witnesses and find out that there was a vehicle that was seen in the area, and it stopped in front of a house and fired multiple shots at the house. We don't have any other information besides that. We did locate some casings, but we do have multiple witnesses that say that it was a blue Ford Mustang, I believe, shot. So yeah, and we also had a crime scene specialist come out and collect the casings from the gun to potentially tie them back later on to potential crimes. And we also did find some bullet fragments in the street. So our crime scene specialist came out and collected all that stuff that could potentially be tied back to guns or suspects at a later date.
Okay. I do not see any other. Oh, okay, wait a minute. We got one more from Marguerite Agnes Hernandez. Some early mornings, people are going through trying vehicle doors. I am on the Ring Neighbor app and ask the people to call 242 cops, and they don't. Can I, since I see the boundary area, call the 242 cops to help the neighbors 1 mile away and give the street names?
Yes, of course. Some people, they're discouraged from calling 242 cops sometimes because they wait. Some people don't call at all when they become immune to some of the incidents they keep on seeing. But we would rather our citizens call us every time there's a public safety concern. If you have a subject that's walking down the neighborhood checking car doors or residence doors, we want to know. That gives us enough reasonable suspicion to stop and talk to that individual and figure out who he is. Like I said, I showed those numbers earlier about the crime stats, and sometimes we can't do our job with the eyes and the ears of our community members. So please do. I think it's better if you call us, when you see it, and give a good description. Don't get involved and just let us respond and handle the situation. But yes, please do call us. Even if it's not on your property, it's still suspicious in nature. I can't imagine why somebody would be walking down the street checking car doors and residence doors. That's indicative of a burglar. So please do call us.
Okay, excellent. And she says, thank you, and thanks on the stats. Jonathan Harris says, La Bajada Road Northwest is a no parking anytime street, but there are always cars. I keep calling 242 cops, but they have not been showing up lately, usually at night.
Okay, thank you. La Bajada is on the north border of Pat Hurley Park. I do understand there's no parking signs there around the park. The park does have designated parking area. I would suggest that you keep on calling 242 cops. I will make sure that I get either an officer or PSA out there to check those areas. But can you tell me when is the time frame that you mostly see this type of violation, or is it just sporadic?
Would you like to answer that question on the workshop, John? You can put your hand up and I can make you a guest if you'd like. Let's see. That's something we're going to be trying a little bit different tonight. We're going to give you the opportunity to talk. The attendees tonight, if you have a comment for either us, the council, for me, the council liaison, or for the APD Southwest Area Command, if you have any questions, any comments to make it all, please raise your hand and I will give you the opportunity to speak, to make your comment in person. Once again, I'd like to announce the Southwest Area Command is looking for new members. We're looking for 6 to 8 hours a month. We are down to 4 members right now. We have a maximum of 11. So if you would like to serve on the council, you have 6 to 8 hours and you live or work in the council, or if you know someone who might want to, I put the link earlier in the chat. Please pass that around and let's get some interested and devoted new members. I'd like to also say that our council chair, Mona Varela, has stepped down. We will be nominating another chair soon, probably before the next meeting. So if you have any interest, please look into us and look to join the council and help your neighborhood. Donna says after dark, Tuesdays and Sundays are the worst.
Okay, noted. I did see that in the chat. I will make sure that I keep those dates in mind and send either PSAs or out there to officers to do some sporadic patrols in that area.
Okay. If you're in the attendee room, please put your hands up and I will give you the opportunity to talk to the council or to the officers. And we will go like that. I'd like to say hi to David Reza. He is a council member from the Southwest as well. So there are 3 of us here tonight and we are hoping to get some new recruits once again, just like APD. So who would like to say something, blow off some steam, say something or ask a question? Is there anyone who would like to put their hand up in chat? Let's get one, just see how this is going to work.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Commander Barraza, I had a quick question. You mentioned that for the speed light, or the speeding cameras, that for the first 30 days, if somebody gets a notice and whatnot, what about the people who don't speed? Are they going to get a notice? Like, is there some kind of push on a different angle other than anybody who goes over 10 miles gets a notice? And you know what I mean? The first 30 days, is there like an announcement of that going to be made?
So I know our traffic division, they're pushing out a lot of this on social media
Cool.
and whatnot. But like I said, the first 30 days is only going to be for those violators who are captured at doing 10 miles over the speed limit and greater. So it's already been live. And that was the date that I was told that it was starting April 25th, which was a Monday. And for the first 30 days, citizens that were violating, that were captured on the automated speed enforcement cameras were going to be given a warning for the first 30 days. After 30 days, then they're going to go straight into the, sending the citations out. And then obviously the citation will have the process included in the literature on how to take care of your citation through the Metro Courthouse.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I just think that the people, if the ones that don't have social media and whatnot, if they knew about it, they'd be more, I guess, trusting and be looking at and seeing and saying, oh, wow, they are changing some stuff. They're doing some stuff, to kind of give them more sustenance. You know what I mean? The community needs to know, that things are happening, right?
Yes. I think, and then was your question that if we're going to send a notice to people that weren't speeding?
Right. Yeah, the community. Yeah, other than like right now, right? Is there like anything else that? But you mentioned social media, so that's good too, I suppose. I just figured like a mailer would be good, but I don't know what the budget is for all that.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's incorporated in the budget through the traffic division. I'm sure they're thinking about those things. I know if I was the commander over there or a lieutenant, I'd be looking at those kind of things too. But I don't know what the process is. What I can tell you is what I've been told and the conversations I've had with Commander Veers, is that it is already live. There is 3 cameras already in place. We have been trying those cameras for a very long time, and the data that was captured from those speed cameras was overwhelming because the speeds that we were seeing some of the motorists in our city was astonishing. It was unreal to see how fast people are traveling over the posted speed limits. And like I said, the reason the posted speed limit set there is because traffic engineering has done plenty of studies and put a lot of hours to determine what is a safe speed in this area, regardless if it's in a residential and a business district. Obviously, the freeways is part of DOT, but there's a lot of studies that goes into why a certain road is placed at a certain speed limit and why it changes, and it may change down the road somewhere. But that's the traffic engineering experts. They do that, and we just enforce. But also, I mean, I do understand your point. I hope that we do include something and like an insert maybe in the water bill. That'd be something that we could do for communication with all our citizens in Albuquerque. So
just wondering, just out of curiosity in any way, but thank you for elaborating.
No, I don't have the answer, but
I agree. That's an excellent thing because not all of us get to read the newspaper or watch the news every day. So the speed cameras may sneak up on some people. I guess Marguerite has a comment.
Yeah, I got a question for Commander. I was given an email about a week ago about the science of cannabis there in Iliff and Coors. And I said, no, I don't want a dispensary there. I don't want signage or nothing. I went there yesterday and they have a sign. They have the cannabis there. They've been there 3 weeks. And I know you officers took forever to clean up that area of all the indigents there. And now here comes the cannabis. So what problems do you foresee or know that's going on in the rest of the city with this cannabis dispensaries opening up? And right there, Iliff and Coors is a really bad spot.
Right, I do hear your concern. I don't know. We don't have any data because it's too early in the stages for that to go live. We can anticipate maybe that that area may have a little increase in traffic, vehicular traffic to get to the business, but it's too early to tell honestly how that's going to affect the business district there or even the area. So
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I guess Karen has a question also. Go ahead, Karen. You're muted.
Hi, I appreciate your being here. I live in the North Valley, and I was just mentioning in the chat that I'm afraid to go downtown at night. I used to love going to the Chemo Theater. There are some things going on down there that I love to see, but I'm really afraid for my own personal safety. And I don't know if it's just me or other people. It just seems like so many bad things are happening along Central. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'm just,
I can hear you. That area the area that you're commenting on is not within the Southwest Area Command. However, I can tell you from working with the commander in the Valley, and that's Commander Scott Norris, I can tell you there is a lot of resources and a lot of personnel that's been increased and actually placed in that area, in that geographic area. They're actually called downtown units. And just recently, probably in about 2 or 3, in the previous 2 to 3 weeks. They didn't have a swing shift downtown unit. They do now. I can tell you they do because one of my officers from my area command that was on Graveyard, he opted to go to that unit. And they're working, from my understanding, they work from 5 p.m. until 3 in the morning. And their direct mission is to do foot patrol, obviously, car patrol and whatnot, to have an effect on some of the nonsense that was going on downtown. So I can tell you, we're putting officers in those areas because we've seen, some of the stats are telling us when things are occurring. So I can tell you that the numbers of officers have increased downtown area because of that concern, for that specific concern. So we hope that, when they're there and they start doing their job, and people will feel safer. And you should see them more often now, but their schedules are 5 p.m. to 3 in the morning.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have any questions right now? Okay. I'd like to thank Mike Krachowski, the chair of the Southeast Council, for giving us this idea to promote conversation at the end of the meeting. That was a good job. Mike's meeting is going to be next week. If you'd like to check out our website, please support other meetings. If you go to church in another area of town, if you work in another area of town, drop in on their meetings once in a while, see what they have to say, because Albuquerque is 6 area commands, but it's one big city, and we're trying to connect people and connect ideas. So please support another meeting if you can. Is there anyone else right now? Would the council members like to say anything? Okay. All right. If there is nothing else, with that, I guess we can call a halt to the processes tonight. Once again, we meet on the first Wednesday of every month with the Southwest Community Policing Council. Please join us. Send out the link if you know anyone else who would be interested in these meetings. We're trying to increase our viewership because the more people who are interested, the better a positive change we can make. And I'd like to thank APD for their attendance tonight, the Southwest Community Policing Council, and also all of our guests and attendees. I think it was a good meeting. And please, if you are a member of the council, please stay on for a little while. The rest of you, good evening, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, Kelly. Would you like me to stay on, or may I be excused?
No, that's fine. Thank you very much, Commander.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you next month.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
You didn't talk to the officers. It's kind of crazy to have them come to the meeting and